All right, everyone, buckle up. We're diving deep into a topic that I think you're going to find really fascinating. We're talking about the Book of Shadows.
Oh, the Book of Shadows. It sounds mysterious, right?
It does, kinda. But, before we get lost in visions of like ancient grimoires and stuff, maybe we should clear up what we're actually talking about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. A Book of Shadows, or BOS for short, is really just a personal record. It's like a
Okay.
journal, but for your magical practice.
Oh, okay, I see. So less like rule book and more like your own personal grimoire. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Think of it like a magical diary where you keep track of all your spells, rituals, dreams, anything that's part of your practice, basically.
And that's what our source for this depth dive is all about, right? It's like a guide to starting and using your own BOS.
Exactly. And it's really cool because it stresses how personal it is.
Hmm.
There's no one right way to do it. Your Book of Shadows should reflect you.
So, like, if I'm way into herbalism, my BOS is going to look a lot different than someone who's, I don't know, obsessed with astrology.
You got it. It's all about what resonates with your own magical path. It's like a fingerprint. Each one is unique.
Oh, I like that. A magical fingerprint. Okay, so we've got a handle on what a BOS is, but what kind of stuff actually go ES in it? I mean, spells and rituals, obviously, but the source mentions other stuff too. What else is there?
Well, there's a lot, actually.
Mm.
It could be anything that helps you in your magical growth. For example, you might have sections on correspondences.
Correspondences.
Yeah, it's basically like, the magical connections between things, like how certain herbs are associated with, say, love or protection, or how different crystals have different properties.
Oh, okay. So it's like your magical cheat sheet.
Exactly. You can also record your experiences with spells, too. Did it work? What did you learn? It's about tracking your progress.
Wait, that's actually really cool. So it's like you're not just blindly following recipes, you're actually like experimenting and refining your craft, like a magical scientist.
That's a great way to put it. And speaking of, making it your own, there's always the question of digital or physical. The source actually talks about this.
Oh, yeah, the age-old debate. It's like tradition versus technology.
Yeah. And, the source actually has some good points on both sides. Like a physical book definitely has that special kind of energy. It's a tangible record of your practice.
I can see that. Like writing things by hand, it just feels more, I don't know, intentional. Like you're really putting your energy into it.
Right. But digital is super convenient, especially for research. You can copy and paste, add links, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, let's be real. I do most of my research online these days.
Exactly. So what the source actually suggests is a kind of like hybrid approach.
Oh, interesting. A hybrid approach, huh?
Yeah. So you can have your like beautiful physical book for your most important stuff, like your core rituals, your big spells.
Okay, that makes sense.
But then you can also keep a digital version for, notes, research, any cool ideas you come across online. Kind of the best of both worlds.
I love that. Okay, so we've talked about what a Book of Shadows is and where we can keep it. But how about the how W? How do we actually organize this thing? Do we need to be like super organized and neat, or can we just let our creativity flow?
Well, I think a little organization can definitely help, especially when you're first starting out. The source gives some good tips for this too. It talks about some common sections that most BOS have.
Oh, yeah, let what?
Well, like we mentioned before, correspondences are a big one. Basically just like your magical encyclopedia. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, like herbs, crystals, all that good stuff.
exactly. And then, sections for your spells and rituals. A lot of people keep dream journals in their BOS too.
Oh, right, a dream journal. So it's not just like practical magic stuff, it can be really personal too.
Absolutely. You can add sections for anything that's important to your practice, moon phases, tarot spreads, even your favorite magical recipes, if that's your thing.
Okay, I see. So we're not like limited to a specific format. It's all about what works for us.
That's the point. It's your book of shadows,
Mhm.
so it should reflect your individual journey and your own, like, unique connection to magic.
I'm totally feeling inspired already, but I gotta admit, the whole idea of starting a BOS can be a bit intimidating. Like, where do we even begin?
It doesn't have to be this big, overwhelming thing. The source actually emphasizes starting small.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Baby steps.
Exactly. Instead of trying to create like this perfect finished book right away, you could just, start with one simple thing, like um, write down a basic spell or like do a moon observation and record what you see.
That's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah. Or even just, write some affirmations that you want to focus on. It's about like building that habit of connecting with your practice and putting it down on paper.
Oh, I see. So it's not just about like the big flashy spells and stuff. It's about documenting your whole magical journey, even the little things.
Exactly. And, even those little things can be really powerful, like moon observation, for example. The source talks about how that helps us connect to like the natural cycles, which is a big part of a lot of magical traditions.
Yeah, that's true. Paying attention to the moon, the seasons, it does feel kind of magical in a way.
And affirmations too. It's like you're consciously aligning your energy with what you want to manifest. So it's all about like empowering yourself through your practice. And your BOS is a tool to help you do that.
Oh, I like that. So it's not just a record of what you did, it's also a record of how you're growing, magically speaking.
You got it. It's a way to like track your progress. And even just like the act of writing things down can be magical in itself.
How so?
Well, think about it. When you like put pen to paper or even, type something out, you're taking something that's like in your head and making it real.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. It's like giving your thoughts and intentions a physical form.
Exactly. You're creating something tangible. And the
Mhm.
source talks about like how to keep your BOS alive and make it a living document.
Okay, I like that. So it's not just a one-time thing, it's something you keep coming back to.
Right. It's like part of your ongoing practice.
Yeah.
And the source has some cool tips for this, like, scheduling regular updates, maybe once a week, once a month, just to add like new insights or new spells you've tried, or even just your reflections on how your practice is going.
Oh, that's a good idea. I could see myself getting really busy and forgetting to, keep up with it. So having those regular check-ins would be helpful.
Yeah, totally. And it's also a good idea to like go back and review your old entries sometimes. You might be surprised at like how much your perspective has changed over time.
That's true. It would be interesting to like read something I wrote a year ago and see how I feel about it now. Maybe I've learned something new, or maybe I've completely changed my mind about something.
Exactly. It's like looking back on your own magical growth. And speaking of like cycles and stuff, the source also mentions adding seasonal entries to your BOS,
Ooh, what's that?
like, incorporating rituals or observations that are specific to, say, the solstices or equinoxes,
Mhm.
or even just like noticing how your energy shifts with the changing seasons.
Oh, I like that. It's like you're like tuning into the rhythms of nature, making your magic a part of the bigger picture.
Yeah, exactly. And it brings a whole new level of depth to your BOS. It becomes more than just like a collection of spells. It's a reflection of your connection to the world around you.
Okay, this is all really cool, but I gotta ask,
Yeah.
what about backups? I mean, this is all like really precious stuff, right? What if you lose it?
That's a good point. Backups are definitely important. For digital BOS, it's pretty easy. Just save it to the cloud or an external hard drive.
Right.
For a physical one, you might want to like take pictures of your most important pages
Mm.
or even, scan the whole thing and create a digital copy just in case.
Yeah, good idea. I'd be heartbroken if I lost my BOS. Okay, so we've covered a lot here, but I think one of the biggest takeaways for me is this idea of the BOS as a tool for self-discovery.
Oh, absolutely. That's what it's all about, really.
It's like it's not just about collecting spells or documenting rituals, it's about using those things to like really explore who you are as a magical person.
Yeah, you said it perfectly. And you remember that prompt from the source, right? What one thing would you put in your book of shadows right now?
Yeah, that one really got me thinking. It's such a simple question, but it's really powerful.
Right, because it forces you to like actually do something with all this knowledge, to take action.
And it's cool because there's no right answer. It could be like a super basic affirmation, or it could be a complex ritual you've been wanting to try, or even just like a big question you're trying to find an answer to.
That's the beauty of it. It's all about what speaks to you
Right.
right here, right now.
I love that. Okay, so basically, we don't have to wait for like some big magical epiphany to start a BOS. We can start today with whatever we have.
Exactly. It's about taking that first step. And remember, your BOS is a living document. So it's going to grow and change along with you.
This has been such a great conversation. I feel like I've gone from like feeling kind of intimidated by the whole BOS thing to like actually excited to start my own.
That's awesome. And you know what? There's even more to talk about. We'll be back soon to wrap up our deep dive into the magical world of the BOS. Don't miss it.
Okay, we're back. Still exploring the Book of Shadows, and I gotta say, I'm really starting to get it. It's not just some spooky, dusty old book, is it?
Not at all. It's a living, breathing thing.
Right. And we've talked about how to organize it, how to back it up, all that practical stuff. But to me, the coolest thing is how it can help you, like, really grow as a magical person.
Absolutely. And, we talked about that question from the source. What one thing would you put in your BOS right now? And I think that's a really good place to start.
Yeah, it's a great question because it kind of forces you to put your money where your mouth is, right? Like, okay, all this stuff is cool, but what am I actually going to do with it?
Right. It's
Mhm.
all about taking action. And the thing is, it doesn't have to be this big, complicated thing. It could be like a simple affirmation that's really meaningful to you.
Huh.
Or, I don't know, a sketch of a tarot spread that you found insightful.
Yeah, just something that speaks to you, right? Like
Yeah.
right now in this moment.
Exactly. And that's kind of the whole point of the Book of Shadows. It's a reflection of your unique magic. There's no right or wrong way to do it.
So no pressure, which is nice. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to say, if you've ever been curious about starting a Book of Shadows, I hope this has given you the confidence to just go for it.
Yeah, don't be afraid to experiment. Make it your own. And most importantly, have fun with it. Because that's what magic is all about, right?
Absolutely. And you know what? I think I'm going to go start my BOS right now. Thanks for all the great insights.
You got it. Happy writing.